Finals and were back in the final for a second time, though as underdogs, up against the host in conditions that better suited their opponents, Sweden.
Realmente a tensão dos jogadores era uma tensão muito grande, a pressão era uma pressão muito forte. É claro que nós tínhamos confiança, nós estávamos todos confiantes, porque nós tínhamos visto os jogos antes, né, o jogo da Suécia, e nós achávamos que dava para ganhar. Mas jogar contra um time da casa, a torcida todas deles, nós estávamos todos tensos, todos preocupados de não poder ganhar.
In 1950, Brazil had found themselves unable to respond to a crisis. In this match, they went behind to an early goal from Sweden, but fought back in style to lead at half-time, before Pelé worked another piece of magic. Sweden had pulled it back to 4-2 before Pelé's second, right at the end.
Quando terminou o jogo final contra a Suécia, Brasil 5, Suécia 2, Brasil campeão, ele veio, encostou o ombro encostou a cabeça no ombro do Gilmar, o goleiro, e chorou. Então o mundo se embeveceu com aquilo, se emocionou com aquilo. Um garotinho de 17 anos, grande jogador de futebol, negrinho, não é? Chorando no ombro de um companheiro.
The 1958 World Cup win was a defining moment in Brazilian history. Indeed, the perception the world has of Brazil dates to that historic win, of a country where the colour of your skin is irrelevant, of a joyous country where sunshine, music, dance, carnival and football combine to create a culture unlike anywhere else, all down to 11 men on a football pitch.
Campeão do mundo, Bellini! Muito obrigado, é com grande emoção que eu piso terras brasileiras e em breves palavras eu apenas diria o seguinte: esse título não pertence somente a nós jogadores e dirigentes, pertence a todo o público esportivo do Brasil, de forma que eu não falarei mais porque eu estou emocionado mesmo. Então Bellini, qual foi o jogo mais...
Isso é tão curioso como o renascimento literário, artístico, que de uma só vez aparece tantos pintores, tantos escritores, tantos compositores. No mesmo período apareceram craques que até hoje são cultuados: Djalma Santos, Newton Santos, Zito, Didi, Garrincha, Pelé. Então esses jogadores apareceram na mesma época. Foi a grande safra para fazer um bom vinho. Foi uma grande safra fazer um bom pão. Então surgiram, foram unidos numa Copa do Mundo, 58, e o Brasil mostrou ao mundo um futebol diferenciado, brilhante.
Away from the high life of Rio is the town of Pau Grande. It was here that a player regarded by many Brazilians as the greatest ever was born. While the rest of the world debates the relative merits of Pelé versus Maradona, the debate in Brazil is far more localized: Pelé or Garrincha. Perhaps it's the fact that Garrincha needed childhood surgery to help cure crippled legs that makes him the favorite of many Brazilians, especially those in Rio, where he played for Botafogo. The operations had helped, but his left leg remained distorted as an adult. By 1962, he'd helped transform Botafogo into the most powerful club in the land alongside Pelé's Santos. At the start of the 1962 World Cup in Chile, they looked an unbeatable combination until Pelé picked up an injury in the second match, which kept him out of the rest of the tournament. The stage was left to Garrincha.
Didi to Garrincha, the man who never knows who he's playing until the day of the game, and then someone has to tell him. Garrincha, the Stanley Matthews of Brazil. Down he goes to the byline, across comes the centre, there goes Amarildo, and it's 2-1 for Brazil.
That goal set up a quarter-final against England, where once again Brazil relied on the magic of Garrincha.
Garrincha came inside, not on the wing, came inside, and he turned round as though he was going to pass the ball, and instead just bent the ball right into the top corner. There again, somewhere else he shouldn't have been.
The ball's gone to Didi.
But sensational skill.
Back to Garrincha. What's he going to do? He shoots. It's there. Springen is beaten. 3-1 to Brazil.
Brazil then beat Chile in the semi-final. Czechoslovakia awaited in the final. Again they fell behind to an early goal, but again they responded to the challenge. Amarildo with the equaliser. By the time Vava scored this rather fortuitous third goal, the Czechs were already beaten. 8 players had taken part in both winning teams, but this was Garrincha's World Cup.
E o Garrincha foi, assim, o melhor jogador dessa Copa do Mundo por tudo que ele realizou. Ele fez gol de cabeça, ele fez gol de pé direito, ele fez gol de pé esquerdo, ele driblou como sempre driblou, futebol fantástico.
Brazil had worked miracles on the football pitch and continued to do so, as Santos twice won the World Club Championship. But Brazilian football was much more than a game, and in 1964, the military seized power in a bloodless coup. For the next 21 years, Brazil suffered at the hands of the generals, and football didn't escape their attentions. Their policy of fast-track economic development was known as the Brazilian miracle. Miracles on and off the pitch. The two went hand in hand as far as the generals were concerned. In the run-up to the 1970 World Cup finals in Mexico, President Medici associated himself closely with the national team. He justified his actions by saying it was his right as a fan to support the team, a right every Brazilian had.
O Médici usou e abusou da imagem que o futebol fazia para se transformar num homem mais popular, pelo menos para as camadas menos favorecidas da sociedade.
Pelé, by now 29, was still the symbol of Brazilian football, an unwitting pawn of Medici's increasingly violent regime. But that was nothing compared to the treatment of national team coach João Saldana. When Medici called for the inclusion of Atlético Mineiro forward Dario in the squad, Saldana was incensed.
O Brasil todo quer dar, inclusive o presidente, porque o Médici falou que não entendia como eu não era da seleção. E João Saldanha, ele era comunista, da esquerda, não gostava da ditadura do presidente, falou, ele escala o ministério e eu escalo a seleção. Aí o presidente pegou e falou, então eu sou o presidente da República, pode tirar esse homem, põe outro.
Future FIFA president and head of the Brazilian Football Federation, João Havelange, acquiesced. In came Mario Zagallo, a much less confrontational figure. Just 2 months before the finals, Saldana was out.
Existiram vários problemas com relação à sua saída. Uma delas foi com o problema do Pelé, dizendo que o Pelé estava cego, que o Pelé não poderia jogar. Isso foi uma coisa que foi muito noticiada na época.
There is a mystique surrounding the Brazil team of 1970. That this World Cup was the first to be broadcast in colour may influence why this team is often voted the best ever.
Era conjunto, a seleção era todo. E o Pelé fazia parte, claro que ele com a sua característica, com a sua genialidade,